Yeah, and I think it's really the cards, like Reality Smasher. I'm not sold on it in this matchup.
When you could cast Reality Smasher, like turn 2 Thought on Seer consistently, Reality Smasher, like during Eldrazi Winter, I was pretty fine with the Merfolk matchup.
I mean,
this deck's a lot slower.
When your Smasher's always on turn 3, I don't know if that card has a bad matchup.
This also is not a Chalice of the Void matchup. You cannot Chalice of the Void Merfolk out of the game, and that is a big hit for the Eldrazi deck.
Well, turn 1 Alan Cummings is going to be a fetch shock for Breeding Pool. I'm interested to see this green, the addition of green to Merfolk in action here.
Yeah, Curse Catcher, kind of the card that fell off the block here. I guess, yeah, there are still 4. I would rather have Kumana's Speaker on turn 1, apply more pressure. That's kind of been one of the issues with Merfolk is you don't always get to start the game on turn 1.
Dexterity error you saw happen during shuffling there. Judge is going to resolve that one, likely with a warning.
Yeah, continue shuffling. I don't know where that card
is. So I played against, for myself, I've played against blue-green Merfolk a couple of times since Ixalan came out. I'll tell you, the green cards don't improve your Primeval Titan matchup.
Whatever, man.
But that's not really a very relevant thing to say.
Merfolk Branchwalker is pretty nice. It can be close to extra copies of Silvergill Adept, and Silvergill Adept has always been the best card in the Merfolk deck.
So Kumana's Speaker at play here. It's another playable 1-drop Merfolk. It's basically just a 2/2 for 1 in the deck. And the penalty there was a warning for looking at extra cards. As it's Alan's first warning, there was no upgrade path to it. On Sandy's side, he has an Urza land and an Expedition map. Goes to work here on the Tron side.
So for this build of Merfolk, only 2 copies of Marrow Regery, making some room that way. No Master of Waves.
Okay, so he's really gotten lower to the ground. Some extra 2s, some extra 1s, no 4s.
There is a Smuggler's Copter in this list. Love it. Card's just very good. It flies. Merfolk can be really good at holding the ground.
Yeah, we've seen 1 or 2 in Merfolk. The card, too good for Standard. A lot of times when that happens, you expect to see the card show up in Modern.
Yep, it's shown up here and there. Doesn't really have the synergy with the Merfolk deck, but it is a nice card.
On turn 2, Alan's going to play Spreading Seas on that Urza's land for Sandy. So, despite the fact that Sandy would have had turn 3 Tron, you see Mine, Power Plant, Map. He's kept off that turn by the Spreading Seas.
Yep, pretty big win for Alan.
Turn 3, draw Aether Vial. He has a pair of Mutavaults. Alan will make Marrow Regery. That will pump the Kumana's Speaker up to a 3/3, and that'll attack in, sending Sandy down to 15.
Marrow Regery, frequently one of the best cards in the Merfolk deck as well. Sometimes referred to as the Blue-Dark Ritual.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the scary parts. This card, it's a little expensive. Most of the Lords cost 2. This one costs 3. But if you get to untap with Marrow Regery, it's really powerful.
Can generate a lot of mana and also makes it nearly impossible for your opponent to block. Of course, with the Spreading Seas on the battlefield, any Merfolk Lord is going to make it generally impossible for the opponent to block. But the mana generation, that is the big thing. You can also use your Mutavault to tap spells and then untap and still be able to attack with the Mutavault.
Sandy will find a replacement Urza's Mine off that Expedition map. So now has Mine and Power Plant, but just 3 mana this turn. See Basilisk Collar to play for Sandy. Now that Collar's down, he'll play Chalice of the Void on 1.
Chalice of the Void, not great in the matchup and very late to the game.
Yeah, you see the 1-drop already in play. Between the Regery and a pair of Mutavaults, it just doesn't feel that Alan would need any more need to really resolve 1-mana spells. He does have an Aether Vial in hand that's been turned off, but that's fine.
Basilisk Collar, potentially a nice find. If Sandy can set up Tron on the following turn, get that collar hooked up.
Especially something like Walking Ballista, that's huge.
Yeah. And we're getting to the point where it almost needs to be Walking Ballista because you have to kill some of these creatures.
Yeah, we'll see what kind of damage is going to be done here. Alan is untapping with Marrow Regery. He only has 1 blue mana source, which might hold him back for a turn. See a second Regery, trigger, untaps the Breeding Pool. And then swings, looks like 4 from the Speaker and 3 from the Regery. So that'll be for 7. Sandy will go to 8. On the next turn, Alan has more than enough damage to end.
Yes. Especially when you add those Mutavaults in.
Exactly. Yeah, he has a 2 Master of the Pearl Tridents and a Lord of Atlantis. So the single blue mana source is actually hurting him here.
Yeah, that is a problem.
But Sandy does not have the Ballista. He hands the cards back. Game 1 goes to Alan Cummings.
And yeah, I do suspect that this is a rougher matcher for Eldrazi Tron. You see we go to the sideboard for Sandy. We have 3 Hangerback Walker, 2 Warping Whale, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Defense Grid, 2 Ratchet Bomb, 2 Grafdigger's Cage, a Surgical Extraction, and Batter Skull. Ratchet Bomb going to be one of the better cards on the sideboard here, though it's a bit slow, but it's just one of the few ways to clean up here. You're probably going to reach for the Batter Skull as well. Try to gain some life and get a large body on the battlefield.
Yeah, I like really any of these things that can play. I don't suppose Warping Whale's gonna hit a target consistently enough to play.
It's real tough. If you can find the one spot where this can be good, if your deck is flush with removal, this is theoretically an answer to Master Waves, but there's no Master Waves here, and Sandy's deck is not flush with removal.
So on Alan's side, he's got 3 Natural State, 3 Relic of Progenitus, 3 Ceremonious Rejection, 3 Dispel, 2 Dismember, and a Negate. I mean, Ceremonious Rejection seems like it's pretty easy. That just a hard counter against this Eldrazi Tron deck.
Yeah, that one for sure coming in. You're probably seeing one or both Dismembers. If Sandy is able to land Thought-Knot, Seer, Reality Smasher, and certainly if you can hook up Basilisk Collar, that can be a problem. Though generally the Merfolk deck plan is just to go larger. The big finds are the rejections.
Yeah, I was going to say with the Dismember, it's interesting. You know, they can kill the Eldrazi. It's not always true that Alan needs to kill the Eldrazi.
Just because you can does not mean you have to.
Right. I agree. If there's a Basilisk Collar on something, then he needs to. So he could board some in. He could also leave them in the sideboard.
You see some natural states in the sideboard. Not likely coming in here. Not only Chalice on 1, not particularly good against Merfolk, but you cannot resolve natural state to kill Chalice on 1. So forget about that.
So if you haven't headed over to StarCityGames.com, there is still time for this week's weekly sale. We've been giving 10% off select graded and scanned vintage and legacy singles. Some great deals there that you want to check out. Make sure you do it today, because at the end of today, we will move over to next week's weekly sale. So head on over to the store today and make sure to head over tomorrow morning when we have next week's deal at StarCityGames.com.
You want to get that Beckett 9 Black Lotus before it's gone. They're just flying off the shelves.
I mean, yeah, as soon as we're off the air, if it's still there, Ryan's getting it.
I'm sniping that Lotus. I'm going to immediately take it out of that case and start shuffling it. Do not let me destroy that Lotus.
So Sandy will be on the play here for the second game. That first one looked rough on Sandy's side. It's really pressure on him to not just... Do you have some pretty specific cards? You know, you're wanting that Collar plus Ballista or an All is Dust. The middle of the road draws don't feel like they're going to be enough.
Spreading Seas turning off the Tron, pretty significant as well.
Yeah, I guess he did have the turn 3 Tron that was set aside there.
Yeah, when you have access to more mana, he could have potentially leveraged the Basilisk Collar more.
So we have game number 2 here for Sandy. Looks like it's going to be a keep. And both players are good. Starting off, Urza's Power Plant into Expedition Map for Sandy Tolar.
Lining up to have turn 3 Tron again.
Yeah, well, how about this? Alan natural states it.
Okay.
I wasn't sure those would come in, but that was a great situation for one.
Yeah, that is a terrific spot for it.
Now here's Urza's Tower. Now just to show him, I would like it here if Sandy just plays the mine next turn. You know, I didn't need it.
The Spreading Seas will check that a bit.
Alan is really fighting over this Tron. Yeah, hits Urza's Power Plant with Spreading Seas.
Yeah, he withdrew a second natural state.
Sandy's going to make a Scion and step here with Warping Whale.
A little mana ramp.
Sure.
Maybe a turn 3 Thought-Knot Seer the hard way.
That's an interesting play. I mean, there aren't too many instant or 1 toughness creatures. If Alan didn't, for example, there make a Silvergill Adept, you're wondering if this Warping Whale is going to convert to much, maybe just make the mana off it.
Right.
Sanctum of Ugin, the next play here. There is an Expedition map in Sandy's hand, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and use that Scion. And you mentioned wanting to get to 4 for the Thought-Knot Seer, and this makes a lot of sense. We'll get a look at Alan's hand.
I'm going to assume that the natural state will not be taken from the hand here.
So we see Kumana's Speaker, natural state for green cards. We see 2 more. Is that 2? No, Spreading Seas, Silvergill Adept, Harbinger of the Tides, and Master of the Pearl Trident. He'll just go for the Lord, Master of the Pearl Trident exiled. And Thought-Knot really shines, I guess, in these matchups where Thought-Knot Seer is not going to be removed very easily.
The Harbinger of the Tides can kind of mess up the Thought-Knot Seer, though Alan is light on mana. He can't really generate a large board presence and really amount to much. If he had some more mana, the Harbinger would be more problematic.
He'll cast Silvergill Adept to try to look for that land. Shows the Harbinger of the Tides that Sandy knows about.
How lucky.
Hits, well, kind of a land. Aether Vial. I guess over... It'll eventually cast the cards in his hand, but it's going to do it very slowly.
Yeah, not being able to cast it that turn is pretty unfortunate.
Actually, that was a... Yeah, we see Chalice of the Void from Sandy on 2. That's real strong.
Yeah, that's a lot better than Chalice on 1.
Alan's
the Aether Vial is actually a relevant draw step now, but he does have to get around this Thought-Knot Seer.
Yeah, Alan's whole hand basically costs 2. Now, the one thing I don't like is that Sandy knows about natural state in Alan's hand, so this is a pretty temporary solution.
Yeah. You need a Chalice on 1 to back that one up.
Yeah, I mean, there's this bind, right? If you don't want it to get natural state, you have to Chalice on 1. If you Chalice on 1, then it didn't do anything. See, Alan goes and he'll blow that Chalice up on 2 and then go to work with some 2-drops.
Choosing between a couple things, he could play Vial plus Speaker here and use all of his mana for 2 spells.
Yeah, the other option here, and I think he's going to go for this, is going to be a copy of Merfolk Branchwalker. Kind of, as you're saying, the next Silvergill Adept for the deck.
Yeah, with full 4 copies, that's Silvergill Adepts 5 and 6. But I joke, but it is a nice card. Alan finds one that he likes. Doesn't draw an extra card, but it gets a 3/2 and gets to keep that Lord on top of the deck.
I think this card's interesting. It's sometimes a Silvergill Adept. Sometimes it's just a 3/2 for 2. And then that's what it was there. And it did put the Master of the Pearl Trident in the graveyard, so that's likely enough. We see Expedition map from Sandy. He has Ghost Quarters, Sanctum of Ugin, Island, and Urza's Tower. I wonder if he still goes for Tron, or whether he just gets Eldrazi Temple and tries to ramp that way.
It's pretty hard to fight for Tron. He knows about another Spreading Seas as well.
Oh, yeah, there's another one? Okay, yeah. Here's Lord of Atlantis. Now Alan's going to try to turn the corner. There is an island on Sandy's side, so blocking will not work here.
Yeah, tapped Thought-Knot Seer, not a great blocker either.
So a swing for 7. Sandy, though, he has a play. He's going to dismember the Lord of Atlantis. He goes to 14 and then will take 5. So still ends up taking 9.
Yeah, the Lord not worth as much damage this turn as the Branchwalker, but over the next turn, then it adds up.
Yeah, I mean, removing the Lord potentially lets Sandy block if he needs to. See Kumana's Speaker. And once again, Alan's got Sandy in a spot where just these few sweepers, the Ballistas, the All Is Dust, you feel like Sandy just has to hit one again.
Yep. Yeah, All Is Dust would be really nice right now.
Yeah, he gets an Eldrazi Temple. That'll help ramp him up toward All Is Dust.
Yeah, he'd need another turn.
Yeah.
Shy on mana for it.
Yeah, I mean, and unless Alan has another Lord of Atlantis or Master of the Pearl Trident, I think Sandy has another turn. But with another one, an Island Walk Lord, that should just be able to deal 9.
Right.
Eldrazi Temple, playing for Sandy. So 6 mana for Eldrazi spells. Mentioned 1 short of an All Is Dust. He has Reality Smasher in his hand, but Alan's at 12. So it's close to enough damage, but not quite there. He'll play the Smasher, and now Sandy has to decide how much he wants to attack with here.
The combat math's interesting. If it's just Island Walk Lord, Sandy's dead. May as well attack.
Yeah, Sandy knows about Harbinger of the Tides in Alan's hand, and I think out of respect for that, he's not going to attack. Doesn't really want these guys to be bounced.
Yeah, and if there's no Island Walk Lord, his blocks are really good.
And doesn't appear to be. Alan will play another Merfolk Branchwalker. Top card, Silvergill Adept. He decides to put that in the graveyard, but he'll take the 3/2.
Yeah, figures that Landwalk Lord is just lethal.
And this is a pretty big win for Sandy. He took the turn off, but Alan actually cannot present lethal here. Did not have another Landwalk Lord. Interestingly, he actually binned one a couple turns ago to that first Merfolk Branchwalker.
No, he didn't. He kept Lord of Atlantis on top. He previously had a different Lord in the graveyard.
Okay. All right, that's actually the one that was exiled by Thought Not Seer, the one we see to the side.
And this is the spot. Tolar really needs all his dust right now. Needs land all his dust, to be more specific.
Yeah. He has 6 mana for Eldrazi spells. Now, if Sandy misses on the draw step, he might even have another turn's worth of blocks. There's still no Island Walk.
Yep. And without any Lord, he's outsizing these Merfolk pretty handily.
Sets aside what looks to be Reality Smasher mana. That'd be interesting. If he has another Smasher, then he's getting in range of lethal attacks, but not quite there.
With Smasher, he forces 1 block, but a Lord is still lethal on the crackback.
Yeah, so it had to be something like a Smasher and a value attack, where you just try to chip Alan to 7 so that next turn's lethal, something like that.
Yeah, it's still the case where the Landwalk Lords really mess you up, but you can beat a Marrow Regery.
Here's Matter Reshaper from Sandy. It's another blocker, but he still doesn't like his attacks. He passes. Another Harbinger of the Tides is the draw for Alan. Sandy's being careful to not tap anything. He knows about the first Harbinger. Now there's a second one.
Yeah, if you're not making a lethal attack, then you're just getting bounced.
Yeah.
Can't attack for lethal in the following turn.
Though we have to watch here for Alan, that Aether Vial ticked up to 1 this turn. If we go 1 more turn, Alan can keep the Vial on 2. And once these Harbingers can come in for free at instant speed, it's going to be much more difficult for Sandy to put a lethal attack down.
Yeah, definitely.
Spreading Seas. Draw here. He's going to put it, I like this from Alan, he puts it on Eldrazi Temple.
Yeah, with no land drop last turn, this is going to push that all his dust back further.
Some good flexibility there. You saw him do Urza's Power Plant early in the game, and now adapts and shuts off the Eldrazi lands. Just says go. Still nothing lethal yet for Alan. Thought Not Seer from Sandy. And you'll see Branchwalker, Harbinger.
Double Harbinger is not what he wanted to see in this hand.
Especially because that Vial's going up to 2.
He's still more beatable than Lord, but he really just wanted this to be the 1 Harbinger he knew about, and then 2 cards that didn't matter.
Yeah. The Branchwalker, I suppose, only kind of matters here. You see Sandy exiles 1 of the Harbingers.
Yeah, I think that the Branchwalker qualifies. That's something that
he was okay with.
Yeah, it doesn't end the game. Aether
Vial for 2.
Ooh, I like
Upkeep.
this.
This is nice. Upkeep, Alan's going to Vial in the Branchwalker. Shows Kumana's Speaker. We'll put that in the graveyard and draw something different. And how about this? It's Master of the Pearl Trident. Well, there are multiple islands in play for Sandy. That scry may have just won Alan Cummings the game, and it did. Game and match. Blue-green Merfolk takes it down.
Yeah, nice sequencing and navigation there by the Merfolk player.
Yeah.